Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our deep dive into history's most incredible stories. Today, we are going to spend a long time together in Paris. I want you to relax and travel back in time with me. The year is 1925. World War I is over and Paris is the center of the world. It is the era of jazz, art, and expensive parties. But underneath the glamour, the city has problems. Prices are high, and the city is struggling to maintain its buildings. In the middle of this city stands the Eiffel Tower. Today we love it, but back then many people hated it. It was rusting. It was dirty. It was losing its paint. Some people in the government whispered, maybe we should just tear it down. And in a small, expensive cafe, a man was reading a newspaper. His name was Victor Lustig. He was not just a regular man. He was a genius. But he was a genius at lying. He spoke 5 languages perfectly. He dressed like a movie star. He had a hypnotic charm that made everyone trust him immediately. He was known as the Count. As he sipped his coffee, he saw a small article in the newspaper. The headline read, "The Eiffel Tower, is it time to sell the iron?" The article complained about the high cost of painting the tower. Most people would just turn the page. But Victor Lustig froze. He stared at the words. A crazy idea started to form in his mind. He thought, if they want to sell the iron, maybe I can sell it for them and keep the money. It was an impossible plan. How can you sell the biggest monument in the world? But Victor was a master of psychology. He knew that if a lie is big enough, people will believe it. He started his preparation. First, he needed to become a government official. He couldn't just walk in off the street. He hired a professional forger. They created fake business cards and fake stationery with the official seal of the French government. His new title was Deputy Director General of the Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs. It sounded boring, complicated, and very important. Just like a real government job. Next, he needed his victims. He didn't want ordinary people. He needed greedy businessmen. He researched the top scrap metal dealers in Paris. These were men who had a lot of money but wanted more. They were men who felt excluded from the high society of Paris. Victor knew their weakness. They wanted to feel important. He sent top-secret letters to 5 of these dealers. The letter said, "You are invited to a highly confidential meeting at the Hôtel de Crillon. Please do not discuss this with anyone." The Hôtel de Crillon was the most luxurious hotel in Paris. It was a place for kings and presidents. When the scrap dealers received the letter, they felt honored. They thought, finally, the government respects us. On the day of the meeting, Victor rented the most expensive suite in the hotel. He ordered the best champagne and cigars. When the 5 men arrived, Victor played his role perfectly. He was serious, quiet, and looked very tired. He acted like a man who had the weight of the country on his shoulders. He invited them to sit down. He lowered his voice so they had to lean in to hear him. "Gentlemen," he began, "I have called you here because the government faces a crisis." The room was silent. "The Eiffel Tower," he continued, "is in ruins." He showed them the newspaper article. "The cost of fixing it is too high. The public loves it, but the government is bankrupt." The businessmen nodded. They knew the economy was bad. "So," Victor said, dropping the bomb, "we have decided to sell it." The men gasped. One dealer asked, "Sell it? You mean the whole tower?" Victor nodded gravely. "Yes, we will dismantle it. We will sell it as 7,000 tons of scrap metal." He looked at each of them. But this must remain a secret. Imagine the public outcry. People would riot in the streets if they knew. He pointed a finger at them. That is why I chose you. You are men of discretion. You can keep a secret. By saying this, he made them feel special. He made them feel like they were part of an inner circle. He told them, I will accept bids for the contract next week. The highest bidder takes the tower. After the meeting, Victor took them to the Eiffel Tower for an inspection. This was the most dangerous part of the plan. What if a real guard stopped them? But Victor walked with such confidence that no one questioned him. He flashed his fake ID card quickly. He led the men around the base of the tower. He tapped the iron with his cane. Look at this rust, he said. It is dangerous. It has to go. The businessmen looked at the tower not as a monument, but as money. They saw thousands of tons of steel they could melt and sell. Victor watched them closely. He was looking for the mark, the perfect victim. He spotted André Poisson. André Poisson was a man who was desperate. He had plenty of money, but he was not respected in Paris society. He wanted to be a hero. He thought, if I am the man who buys the Eiffel Tower, history will remember me. I will be the king of scrap metal. Victor saw this hunger in Poisson's eyes. He decided he is the one. A few days later, all the dealers sent their bids. But Victor only cared about Poisson. He invited Poisson back to the hotel for a private meeting. But there was a problem. Poisson's wife was suspicious. She told her husband, André, this feels wrong. Why is everything so secret? Why doesn't he meet you at the ministry office? Poisson asked Victor these questions. Mr. Lustig, my wife is worried. Why are we rushing this? Victor knew the scam was about to fail. He needed to do something brilliant. He decided to tell the truth. Well, a different kind of truth. He sat next to Poisson and sighed deeply. André, can I call you André? Yes, of course, Poisson said. André, I will be honest with you. Being a government official is not easy. Victor looked at his shiny shoes. We dress nicely. We work at big hotels. But our salary, it is tiny. He looked Poisson in the eye. I have bills. I have a lifestyle to maintain. It is hard to choose the winner of this contract. Poisson stared at him for a second. Then a smile spread across his face. He understood. Victor was asking for a bribe. To Poisson, this was good news. If Victor was an honest man, the deal might be fake. But if he was a corrupt official asking for a bribe, that felt real. That was how business was done in Paris. Poisson laughed. Oh, I understand perfectly, Mr. Lustig. Why didn't you say so? Poisson felt relieved. He knew how to handle a corrupt official. The next day, Poisson returned with two things. First, a check for the price of the Eiffel Tower. Second, a thick envelope full of cash for Victor's personal fee. Victor took the money with a calm smile. Thank you, André. You are a true gentleman. He gave Poisson a stack of fancy documents. Here is the deed to the tower. The workers will arrive on Monday to start dismantling it. They shook hands. Poisson left the hotel feeling like the smartest man in the world. He owned the Eiffel Tower. As soon as Poisson left, Victor packed his bags. He went straight to the bank, cashed the check, and took the first train to Vienna. He didn't run like a criminal. He traveled first class. In Vienna, he checked into another luxury hotel. And then he waited. Every morning, he bought the Paris newspapers. He looked for the headlines. Greatest scam in history, or businessman buys tower. He waited 1 day, 2 days, a week, but the newspapers were silent. There was no news about the Eiffel Tower. Victor was confused. What happened? Here is what happened. On Monday morning, André Poisson went to the Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs. He walked in proudly with his documents. "I am here to meet the crew for the dismantling," he told the receptionist. The receptionist looked at him like he was crazy. "Dismantling? What are you talking about?" "The Eiffel Tower! I bought it!" Poisson shouted. He showed his documents to the real officials. The officials were shocked. "Monsieur, these are fakes. This signature. This department doesn't even exist." Poisson realized the horror. He had been tricked. He lost a fortune. But then he thought about his reputation. If he went to the police, everyone in Paris would know he was the fool who bought the Eiffel Tower. His business rivals would laugh at him. His wife would be furious. The shame was worse than the loss of money. So, André Poisson did something amazing. He turned around, walked out of the office, and never told anyone. He swallowed the secret. Back in Vienna, Victor realized what had happened. "He is too ashamed to talk," Victor laughed. It was the perfect crime. Most criminals would stop there. They would take the millions and retire. But Victor Lustig was not most criminals. He was arrogant. He thought if it worked once, why not twice? 6 months later, he returned to Paris. He stayed at a different hotel. He sent letters to 5 new scrap dealers. He told the same story. "The tower is rusting. We must sell it." But this time he was not so lucky. One of the new dealers was not as greedy as Poisson. He was suspicious. He went to the police to check Victor's background. The police realized, "The Count is back!" They rushed to the hotel to arrest him, but Victor was always 1 step ahead. He saw the police cars coming. He escaped through a back window. He fled to America, leaving the Eiffel Tower behind. Victor continued his life of crime in America. He even tricked the famous gangster Al Capone. But that is a story for another day. He was finally caught and sent to Alcatraz prison. On his death certificate under occupation, it listed him as a salesman. And in a way he was. He was the salesman who sold the unsellable. The story of the Eiffel Tower scam teaches us a powerful lesson about human nature. Victor Lustig didn't use force. He didn't use weapons. He used the victim's own greed and insecurity against them. He knew that when people see a chance to make easy money, they stop thinking clearly. Poisson wanted to believe the lie, so he did. It is a reminder to us all, if a deal sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And if someone tries to sell you a national monument, please just say no. Thank you for listening to this long and incredible journey. I hope you felt like you were there in Paris with the Count. There are so many more secrets in history waiting for us. See you in the next episode.